Alright guys, welcome back for the second map of the series between Space Soldiers and Fragsters. And of course we did just witness an absolute decimation from Fragsters as they took down Space Soldiers 16-2 over on Train. But now comes Mirage. It is Space Soldiers' choice, so they should be feeling a lot more comfortable here on this map. But of course, with it being their choice, Fragsters, they get to start off on the CT side. And I feel like if they get off to another strong start here, it may be just a little bit too difficult for Space Soldiers to try and get their head back into the game. So I'm hoping we can see a lot more from them now. Of course, there was just recently, I saw mentioned on Twitter about the player break. I kind of forgot about that. And maybe that's something that has kind of caused them to cool off a bit, because this is not what we expect from everyone on Space Soldiers on an individual level. But here we go, getting into the action, Dinko. It's a defuse kit for Bubsky and a smoke. And surprisingly, all Kevlar for Space Soldiers, so we'll probably see a pretty fast approach into this round, based completely on the brunt force approach.
Space Soldiers, this is the map that they have to win as well. We've seen Fragsters pick up their pick on the Space Soldiers pick. Let's see how they can get this one underway. It's the pistol. It's an opening kill for Space Soldiers. Calyx will find the opening on the refresh. Twitch shoot come in from Stavin, but decides to back away. Doesn't overcommit. Spots a couple of players walking towards that short position. And Space Soldiers instead actually decide to back off and reconsider their options, actually. So, I mean, they could just fall back, and this is a good position for them to be in. They've got the man advantage. They've got plenty of time to work with. And they've fallen back into a position currently where they could play with anything. They could go for a mid-split to A. They could go back towards B if they decide to. So there's plenty of options here for Space Soldiers to work with. And it's just down to whether or not they get the information of which area to go to. And currently, you know, it would be towards B. And that's where they're going.
Yeah, the one player who is in position as well is all the way back in kitchen now, so this should be a pretty easy approach for Space Soldiers, although they do send a few players up through short, almost getting caught off guard by Stavin. Luckily enough, able to get themselves into safety. Nice shot by Torben, but actually it's elsewhere that the frags continue to come in from the Glocks. Paz and Xanthar is able to chime in, and suddenly the A site, or rather, I was going to say the A site could potentially go under their control. Instead, they do go ahead and just push in through jungle as well. And sandwich the final two players. Xanthars and Paz with the final headshots. And Space Soldiers pick up the opening pistol, getting off to already a bit of a stronger start here on this map. As we've seen, of course, Fragsters, I believe, picked up both pistols on the previous one. So that is definitely an improvement for Space Soldiers now coming into this map, rather. Let's see. 3 AKs, 2 MAC-10s. Going for a fairly safe approach, I suppose. Having those AKs to kind of take the longer range duels. And then the MAC-10s, of course, up close against the pistols to try and build up bank as well. As the force spike comes in from Fragsters, and of course it's only pistols and Kevlar, and that one scout into the hands of Dragonfly, which I believe was actually dropped over to him by Torben, who got a CZ in return. Let's see what the plan is for Space Soldiers in this round anyway. Going for what's a very normal play when you're up against those weaker buys. Just put your focus over towards middle, especially when you have those rifles in your hands. You always want to take the longer range duels against the pistols, keep it as favored for yourself as you possibly can. Score 1-0 for Fragsters currently. They took the first map and done so 16-2. There we go. Xanthars already claims the life of Dragonfly. The scout is taken out a round. And with just under a minute remaining now, Space Soldiers probably going to come to a decision pretty soon about where they want to take this. And with their current positioning, it looks like an A split is going to be what they do go for.
Yeah. 45 seconds left. You know, you have the man advantage over for Space Soldiers. Again, plenty of time to work with, plenty of ideas to be thrown around. Seems as though they initially wanted to go towards A, but decided against it and are actually going back towards the middle position where they can take the long-range fights against the pistols. And that's where they push up short into B, where Major finds the kill onto Torben. Player dropped inside of the kitchen. Stavin looking to find the trade with a deagle. Actually gets one there on the Major. Nice shot. Has an opportunity to get a little bit more as well. Has the teammates in support in the form of Refresh and Bubsky, 3 gifted players. So this could be Frankster's chance to do another bit of damage, but you know, Space Soldiers, this is a great start for them on their map pick. I mean, their T-side is something of a wonder. You know, you look at their T-side on Mirage, it has this unique style, this very hyper-aggressive style. So far, you know, it's been a little bit more different than that. They've actually been sort of, you know, they initially go with the pressure, then they alleviate it, and then they put pressure elsewhere. And it's actually quite an interesting style of play to watch on their T-side.
Yeah, that was actually just the approach, what you were mentioning, that they went for right there into that round. And I guess even in the pistol, the fact that they were pressuring up connector as well as over towards short. So, yeah, it's working for them right now at least. Quick 2-0, keeping themselves 4 players alive. On the other hand, it's Refresh and Bubsky who do at least successfully save over their pistols and the scout. So, give themselves something to work with in this round. Their goal, of course, going to be to get some damage done, drop as many weapons as they can out of the hands of Space Soldiers, and just make it costly so that they can keep it modest. And ideally as well, they probably want to avoid getting taken down by those Mac 10s. It's always nicer if you die to an AK instead of one of the SMGs. Give them a little bit less money, because of course 600 for getting those kills with the Mac 10s. But let's see, another very slow round from Space Soldiers. Basically the same setup as we've seen in the previous round, where they just take it straight out towards middle. And as I said then as well, it is the preferable position when you have those rifles up against the pistols. Stay as far away as you can. You're always going to be favored in the duels, and even if you do go down, it's difficult for the weapons to be retrieved.
Towards connected they go. The Space Soldiers have taken a little bit of map control towards this side of the map, and all of the Fragsters towards the B side of things. So A seems to be their best bet, and Space Soldiers, I mean, they are a team that just like to try and gather as much information as possible, and then, you know, dynamically set up off the back of their setup, off the information they get. So they're going to lean towards the A site as they seem players towards B, but that's a good shot from Refresh, and that's the bomb as well, so that slows them down a little bit. It opens up an opportunity to get some more damage done, but Xantares will say nope, takes the kill with the AK. It's a man advantage for Fragsters, but how long can it really stay over them? They've only got a couple of pistols left. Paz was nearly able to equalize there and then. The Mac 10s will be the weapons to do it, and as you said, picking up extra cash for them at every kill they get. But there's the kill with the Zeus. No money picked up, but he does get himself an AK, so this is the opportunity. His head showing over the top of Mac 10, just trying to rattle in, but it's a flank from Bubsky, and suddenly Fragsters are making this work. It's all on the Paz, and he picks up the last 3. But that got a little bit scary, Dean. You know, you think there for a split second that Fragsters may have done it.
Oh yeah, that was a good recovery from Paz right there, especially the third kill. A little bit awkward on the initial spray, but good job to go ahead and calm himself down, just recover on the burst really. So it is a quick 3-0 for Space Soldiers. But yeah, good damage at least being found from Fragsters. There wasn't really any investment put into that previous round. Getting the extra kills, a bit of extra money for themselves, and also of course making Space Soldiers have to go for quite a lot of reinvestment. But here we go. The buy round comes out for Fragsters. The op is available for Dragonfly. And there is also a decent amount of utility in the pockets of the majority of the players for Fragsters. But let's see if Space Soldiers can continue building up this lead for themselves, as this time around it's a lot slower. They know they're up against the weapons. In the previous rounds they just went immediately out for that mid control. This time around they slow it down, expecting perhaps Fragsters to try and get aggressive instead. But it doesn't really look like that's going to be happening as of yet. Instead, they've gone for a bit of a, I guess, gamble play over towards A. 3 players in position already. No one really trying to actually defend in towards middle, which means Space Soldiers, if they do look to go for this eventually, should find that mid control once again quite easily.
Again, Space Soldiers, very simple plays. I mean, it's nothing madly innovative, but it's definitely just kind of playing, adapting essentially to the information you gather, and they like to just probe for a little bit of information. If you get that, then you know you just adapt your setup into a way that you can deal with that, and that's a good way to play. Play sort of conservative with the vast majority of players, send a couple of to be the information gatherers. And now that Space Soldiers have info, they want to head towards the B-bomb site, and that is where they'll find Stab, and that's an opening kill to come in. A huge player to drop as well without finding one. Torben will be able to pull it back, but only 1 kill to be found. And it's still a man advantage for Space Soldiers as they just try and hold on to the B-bomb site, as the bomb now down right in the middle of the bomb site. Time ticking away, and Fragsters, they've decided against even going for this, so instead they're going to go back and save the weapons. So that is essentially the best case scenario for Space Soldiers. Take the bomb, get it down, and don't even allow Fragsters to get that much damage. They only lose 1 player in the entire engagement here, Space Soldiers. So, great job done.
Yeah, ideally Refresh and Bubsky, if they could find 1 kill each, they'd have enough money to drop the rifles over in the next round, but I don't think it's going to happen. Dragonfly does get 1 kill, but with the op, sadly only $100 for finding the frag. Do you feel like that's fair that the op only gets $100, especially considering how expensive it is?
Yeah, I actually agree with the, you know, getting $100 with it, because it's kind of like, it's such an impactful weapon, and I think the impact that it gives in the round is enough. I think if you can use the op to get those opening kills or whatever, there's something that can change the tide of a round. I think that's where the cost is viable. Whereas, you know, the kill reward from it, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you're buying the op to get those impact frags, and it doesn't really matter the amount of money you get from the back of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with you. It is a very impactful weapon. But look at this one now. Fragsters, they of course saved a few weapons, but Space Soldiers just immediately making their way over towards B, although Major was quite a bit ahead of everyone else. Meant he didn't really have any assistance immediately, but the trade is found. But just as we say that, Stavin and Torben are going to be able to get work done. Dragonfly over the smoke claims the life of Xanthars, and suddenly Calyx is left all alone in a 1v3. And he's only able to find a single frag before he falls. And Fragsters, with what was a pretty weak investment and getting a good few of those frags with those pistols as well, are able to get their first round onto the board. 1-4, the Space Soldiers. They can invest again. It's only, I believe, Major and Calyx actually are going to be stuck down to some weaker weaponry. So a pretty good opportunity here for Fragsters if they can claim this round.
Yeah, that was the type of round that you know, Space Soldiers can't afford to lose, especially on the map pick. And they're one map down as well. If anybody's just tuning in, it is of course Fragsters up by 1 on train, 16-2. Coming into this one, Space Soldiers really needed to get a good start. They found the first 4, but you know, it was back and forth. It was pretty close. It was scrappy. And you can see that is telegraphed in the economy. Only 1 round loss, and you know, Space Soldiers are down to a pretty weak buy. Opening kill as well being found by Fragsters, so a great start to the round here, Dean.
Yeah, a splendid start. Paz was a bit unlucky that he got spammed through the smoke, I believe it was, the leg shot. So pretty quickly into this round, the man advantage for Fragsters, and Space Soldiers already looks like they have a bit of an idea about what they actually want to do. Having moved up towards the ramp. Dragonfly surprisingly not able to connect that shot, and the spam actually brings him down to only 1 health. This is looking pretty dangerous for him indeed. The spam eventually finishing him off as well, this time from Xanthars, so looking pretty decent actually for Space Soldiers now as they're finding these frags towards the A-bomb site. They've successfully managed to find 3 for 1, which means they've actually got themselves into a man advantage. And that should allow for that bomb to be planted quite easily with a smoke down towards CT. Torben couldn't really do anything to stop it. Stavin and Torben are going to be in a very difficult retake. Make that just Torben.
Torben goes down, and that will be 5-1 for Space Soldiers. They pull it out of the bag, and I think that's the best case now for them because they've just reset Fragsters. So, in terms of actually, what this is interesting. Actually, Fragsters have been able to get a buy through. I thought for sure they would have barely any money, but they actually had a little bit saved up from previous rounds, I guess. Again, it's not a great one, but yeah, it's something. So this is actually not a done deal for Space Soldiers. I thought it would have been a little bit more clean, but obviously not keeping track of the economy. There's the 2 kills from Calyx. That makes it a little bit easier indeed. Pulled back by Dragonfly, who's able to find a trade back, but 4 versus 3, man advantage looms over the Danish side.
This could be dangerous for Engine. And Mach 10, I wouldn't say that's the ideal weapon to be holding that angle with at all. I'm surprised he continued to try and actually take that fight when he knew he was up against an op, so a little bit strange. But anyway, as we can see now, Space Soldiers just beginning to walk straight on towards this A-bomb site. Bit of a retake setup from Fragsters at the moment over towards Connector with most of their focus instead. Although that is a bit of a failed smoke. That could have been really dangerous if anyone was peeking in right there. Luckily enough for Major's sake, no one was, so bomb gets planted. 4 on 3 for Space Soldiers, and if Fragsters don't find a kill within the next second or 2, I think they probably just want to save. They don't have a defuse kit being the main problem. And they might not even actually be allowed to back off now. Dragonfly gets 1, and that may allow for him to actually run towards safety, but Major gonna catch him off guard, I think. Easy kill, and an op if he wants to pick that up as well.
Yeah, the time's ticking away. It's going to be Space Soldiers taking 6 on the board, and you know, this is the sort of scenario that I played out in my head. This is the one this is how I thought it was going to go down. You know, Fragsters take train pretty convincingly. Things look good for them, and then coming into Mirage, it's not a great map for them. It hasn't been historically great for them, statistically speaking, as well. Played it a few times. They've kind kind of have back and forth results. I think their only wins are against some weaker tier opponents. So, it's not been a great map for the Danes, but Space Soldiers, it's definitely a good one for them. And I think it's a good matchup to take against Fragsters for them. So yeah, this is definitely their best scenario to get on this map, especially coming out of a map like Trim. We've literally been blown out of the water. So with a good start, this is where Space Soldiers can begin to get that momentum rolling. And if you can get players like Santeras going off, then that's when the fear factor begins to kick in for Fragsters.
Yeah, they probably want to start worrying pretty soon, as it seems like Space Soldiers should pretty easily find a 7th round already on the T side. Fragsters may be able to get a bit of damage done in this one, but as we can see, their numbers continuing to diminish as the rifles reign supreme in the duels. Has realized and refresh is boosted up, actually does go down. So that's another frag at least coming in for the Fragster side. I can't call it a frag when we're casting Fragsters because it just sounds so weird.
Yeah, it does actually. It's a little bit of a too many of the same word in your mind.
Yeah, it throws me off because I'm like, I can't repeat the word, but it's their name. What can I do?
Yeah, you just gotta throw it out of your lexicon at that point.
Yeah.
Try and find something else.
I'll go with kills.
Eliminate,
Yeah,
we got some synonyms we can use.
Edge shots if it's headshots.
Yeah, there we go. We got some things to work with. I think I actually like to make a list. If there's anybody listening, like this, actually, I like to make like a list of words that mean the same thing, and then just kind of like scratch them off, so it keeps it versatile. Huh. So anyway, this is interesting.
Slowly scratch it off.
Yeah, just like find words kind of mean the same thing, and we'll just scratch them off. But a Byron coming through. Calyx is finding one back, and it will be a 4 versus 4, even across the board. The player planted the bomb. It's denied from Refresh. He gets through. The bomb denied, and the second follow-up. How lucky can you get? And that pulls it into a man advantage for Fragsters. Great spray from Refresh, and all the pressure now lying on Space Soldiers to try and regain the bomb control and even get it down.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough one indeed. No more smokes to work with, sadly. One player in connector has been spotted, and eventually the bomb has been retrieved. But of course, with a player still in towards the CT spawn, getting this bomb planted is going to be extremely difficult. And as we can see, Refresh just continues to find the frags, gets himself a 3rd, and even comes in for the 4th to clean it up on towards Xanthars. This kid is an absolute monster. I don't know what age he is. I just said kid.
I think he's like 20.
Really? Okay. He's older than me then. I'm not 20 for another, like, 2 weeks.
I think he's like 20 or 21. So, yeah. I mean, he's still young in respect to... He's still pretty young in respect to some of the other Counter-Strike players that are, around the level he's at. I think everyone on the Fragster side is pretty young, and I think that's promising for Danish Counter-Strike. If you've got players like Refresh coming through, who's just an absolute beast, and Staven as well, you've got yourself a really, really strong youth within Denmark, and we can probably see another great team come through. Little Bubsky, he will find the first kill. Major able to reply back, and again, even odds once more. Although Fragsters, their buy is not great. Not too much to work with. The bomb will be planted in the default position. Somehow Space Soldiers have been able to get out onto the A site for free pretty much. Oh, there's the kill back from Dragonfly though. That makes it a little bit more difficult for the hold. And the push plants have been established. Santeras posted up inside of the palace. Very difficult to deal with a player of his caliber in such a strong post plant position. That could have been it though. Staven, he needed to take him. That could have changed it all. Instead, Santeras will take him, makes him look a little bit silly, and now it's a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, that was the round that was really the kill that Staven needed to kind of tilt this round in favor
of
Fragsters. It may still happen. He can just go straight for the defuse. He has the kit. Calyx, oh, just about able to deny it. I can't imagine how close that was.
I would have loved to see it from the diffuser's perspective, just to see how many seconds were left on that defuse. That was incredible. For a second we thought, all right, Staven's messed that one up. Space Soldiers will win this one, and then suddenly, just out of nowhere, Fragsters turn it around, and there was a chance there for them to win it. And you've got to feel the pressure now. You've got to feel a little bit disappointed, but the confidence will still be there for Fragsters. I mean, they've come close so many times. It's just about getting their break and perhaps getting lucky one round and they'll answer back. But Space Soldiers, their economy hasn't been allowed to grow too much. One round win for Fragsters, and it could be down to Swanee, essentially, because if you look at it, their economy right now, Dean, there's barely any money left in there. So you know, you lose this one, it's all gone, and you're back to the pistols.
Yeah, exactly. They've just done such a good job at making it costly for Space Soldiers. But coming back to that, you said they need to pick up a round soon. They need to get lucky with one. But it needs to really be ASAP if they want to turn this into what you'd consider a decent half. Maybe 6 on the CT side would be fairly respectable. But it's not ideal. And even then, into this one, Stavin has already bought. The rest of the players don't really have a lot of money. We even see 2 of them being double eco. So it's probably just going to be the full investment here. If they don't pull off this force buy, then it's an eco. And we'll see Space Soldiers likely claiming 10 already. So yeah, not looking great for Fragsters here on Mirage so far. Of course, if needed, Inferno is going to be the decider. And I just love watching Inferno, especially when it's a decider. Have you ever had a game of Inferno that was the 3rd map of a best of 3 that wasn't amazing?
I'm sure there's been one, but mostly, yeah, the vast majority, yeah, generally.
Let me push my agenda.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, for sure, Inferno definitely does deliver in those 3rd map deciders. It's definitely the map to go to. I've actually begun to see Dust 2 come through as a 3rd map decider a lot now, which is interesting.
One of us just got called Scottish, Dinko.
I'm
going to presume
assuming
you.
I'm assuming, yeah, I'm gonna assume it's me. Yeah. Although I do think my accent's been a little bit more refined since I began.
I never had a problem with your accent, but as an Irishman, I suppose that would be expected. But here we go. As I said, it's the force buy from Fragsters. They've gone for a little bit of a stack towards the A-bomb site with 3 players, but already it seems like it's going to be a fairly easy cleanup. Dragonfly gets 1 and Stavin as well doing the same. That's all they're allowed, as only Refresh remains alive. 3 on 1. And you may just want to consider saving this Deagle and Kevlar so he at least has something in this next round, because without it, just going to have to be that full eco coming in either way. As we see Space Soldiers just continuing to run away with this lead. They have a bit of a flipped game here in comparison to what we've seen on Train just a couple of moments ago. Kind of surprising.
Yeah, this is definitely the way I expected it to go, of course. You know, Space Soldiers coming onto this map. This is definitely their favorite in terms of their favorite, should I say, in terms of, you know, recent results, statistics, etc. You know, Fragsters hasn't been a great one historically for them. So Space Soldiers, it was always kind of a telegraphed position that they would come into this and want to win it. And the win conditions I put were for Fragsters, they had to win Trin. They did that very convincingly indeed. So they're still in that position where they can, you know, follow up from it and try and take over the line. And I think at this point, Space Soldiers, they just have to try and keep it going. And if they can get a convincing win on Mirage, then perhaps going into that 3rd map, then that's when it gets super interesting, because, you know, you've had 2 very dominant performances. You can't say one team's favorite or whatever in terms of playstyle. So yeah, I think coming on that 3rd map decider, it'll be extremely interesting. If it happens, of course, because of course Fragsters still can come back, and it'll come down to the pistol, Dean, whether or not we're going to see that happen.
Yeah, but in this round anyway, a bit of damage actually being connected. They got the 1 kill, and Xanthars as well, being brought down to 9 health. Returns it onto Stavin at least, but 4 on 4, the opportunity for a bit more damage for Fragsters. If they can drop two more of these weapons, ideally, I'd say, just so they have to go for a lot of reinvestment in the next round on that Space Soldier side, then Fragsters still have an opportunity, because if they can pick up this next gun round, then Space Soldiers will be working with what's a little bit of a weaker buy in the one after that, and they could potentially still actually pull this back up to 5 rounds, which would be a pretty good recovery when you look at the context of how this half begun, of course. Ooh, Engine. That was a crispy little 1-tap.
Bomb taken away. Engine will go himself another here. Bumsky will fall.
They tapped the bomb to pull them back. Look at this.
That is such a smart play.
I don't think it's going to get anyone.
Nah, no. Yeah, I guess that is a very intelligent play, though. Just tap the ball and pull them back into the site to see if, you know, there was time, and then obviously a couple of them may die to the bomb, but, you know, it was a threat neutralized. So 10-2, Space Soldiers definitely picking up a lot of momentum, definitely looking very confident. It's going to be another buy for the Fragsters here coming through. Through its eye time, really. If they win this one, Dean, and, you know, that opens up the opportunity to get 5 on the board, and coming in from a scoreline of 10-5, I mean, it's pretty recoverable. It's not ideal, but it's recoverable for sure.
Yeah, let's see though. Space Soldier's going for just an instant hit towards this B bomb site. Staven being the initial point of defense, only able to find one frag, and Paz spamming into the smoke, gonna also be able to take down Torben, as it seems to be, I was gonna say, a pretty easy round for Space Soldiers, but it's continuous trade back and forth. Sure, Bubsky's left alone on the 1-on-2, but it's not completely impossible for him to actually win this one, especially with Paz being so low on health. Problem is though, spotted out just as the smoke begins to dissipate. And it's 11-2. Another gun round goes in favor of Space Soldiers. It looks like we're seeing a bit of a flipped scoreline from the previous map, as we could potentially see another 16-2. This is the way it happens. If they trade maps in the first two, the third map is always super close, or like 7 overtimes.
Yeah, so you have those 2 blowouts in the first 2, and then the third one just, you know, you think it's going to be an easy day at the office, and then suddenly the third map goes to crazy overtimes, back and forth we go, and that generally is the storyline in a lot of these best of 3s, with the third map being Inferno, which is why it's so exciting to watch. I love Space Soldiers. I don't think there's any way that they aren't favored in this one. I think definitely Fragsters, they'll have an opportunity to do a little bit more damage with the weapons that they currently carry, because they do have a lot of skill on them. We've seen in certain scenarios, we've seen them being able to win engagements with the pistols, so it's definitely not done deal. Space Soldiers need to respect it, and they are doing so. And I think that's something that's pretty good about the Space Soldiers T side. They've always respected whatever buy they've come up against. They've always played it methodically, not got too overconfident or zealous, and I think that's a great way to be.
Yeah, there's always kind of, you need to show your opponents some form of respect, but you also need to show confidence. It's all about a balance, which can be very hard. Personally, when I play CS, if I'm confident, I play like 100 times better than if I'm not. I'm an absolute bot either way, but like, you know what I mean? Nice shot by Dragonfly. Okay, let's see if he can actually hold this down, because he does have some assistance. Refresh, of course, into CT spawn, and with the time that remains, Space Soldiers, they do have to commit onto this A bomb site. And actually, there was a player on ramp as well, but it doesn't seem to matter. Paz just been able to clean it up, gets himself 2 quick kills. As now the bomb will look to go down. Ooh, I was going to say a bit of a chance for Torben, but Xanthera spins back in time to save him, as Refresh is now all alone. And that's no longer the case, as he's sent to the graveyard as well. His headstone was, it had an impression on it. It said, Refresh is a god, but he just wasn't enough in this round. He's 12-10 still. It's not too spectacular, but he's had some nice rounds. And, of course, there was that one where he got the, like, was it the 2K spray down through the smoke to stop the bomb plant?
Yeah.
And
I
think,
crazy.
Yeah, that was one of the rounds they won as well. So it's, like, been very one-sided here so far. It seems like the rounds they won have been due to one player kind of stepping it up on an individual level. And then the rest of the rounds have all been super close.
So, you know, four rounds away from Space Soldiers doing onto Fragsters what was did to them in the first map on Train. 16-2 could be a scoreline we could be looking at, but this is the round 4 for Fragsters to change that and try and get themselves the last one in the half. And get 3. It's gonna be a stretch coming back, especially on the T side. But it's better than 13-2. 12-3 is better than 13-2. But you got to be positive, you got to be optimistic, and let's see what Fragsters can do. They've got themselves everything they could want, though, Dean, so that's something. They have the rifles and the AWP and all the utility in the world coming into the last round of the half.
Yeah, everything they could want. But we know that, Dinko, because as the chat said, there is a script.
Oh.
Did you not get the script?
No, I didn't. Must have lost that.
It's fine. I'll read it to you at some point. JK. But yeah, 12-2, as you said. A bit of a difference between 13-2 and 12-3. At least if you have 3 rounds, you have a bit of an opportunity. If you lose the pistol to still fight in the game, you at least get that 1 gun round. But either way, not ideal. Space Soldiers, 12 already on the T side, looking for this final round. And as we can see, a bit of an A fake going to be brought in. This is a different approach now for Space Soldiers. We haven't seen this as of yet. And because of that, we may see Fragsters fall for already 1 kill being found. But Refresh, he's actually in a good position. Cuts off the rotate, and I think that should now be the info found that they know it's going back towards B. The problem is I don't think they're going to be able to set up in time, as already there was another kill being found over on that site. But it's just back and forth right now. This is very hectic. Frags everywhere on the map. Very difficult to follow indeed. But it's left onto Staven and Dragonfly now. Can they pull off this retake? As it doesn't look too likely. And there you have it, 13-2 at halftime in favor of Space Soldiers.
Great half indeed from the Turkish side. They'll be looking to get those last three pretty quickly. That's going to come down to the pistol, of course. And, you know, Space Soldiers switching over to the CT side. I mean, all Mirage technically, you know, it favors the CT side. Although I think Space Soldiers are a bit of a strange entity in that fact that their CT sides have just never been as good as their Ts, in my opinion. From what I've seen, at least. And I think it was happening on train as well earlier today. Their CT side definitely was not strong as their T side. I think they started to look, there were signs of life on it. But coming into this, they had a very, very good T side start. And that results in the scoreline 13-2. So coming into the pistol of the second half, it's Fragsters, 2 on the board for them. Can they get a little bit more, or will it be Space Soldiers to end it here and now? And, you know, it's very possible that that is the case. Full Kevlar across the board for Fragsters. Kevlar across the board for everyone on Space Soldiers, bar Engine, who's decided to pick himself up a nade and a defuse kit.
Yeah, normally you see a smoke coming in with the nades, with the defuse kit rather, so it's interesting that he goes for the grenade. I think he has that over toward the B apartments right now, so I guess you can kind of understand why, trying to counter a B rush to get some damage in if it happened. But as we can see for now, Fragsters just going for a bit of a slower approach. 2 players coming in through underpass, 1 on ramp and 1 in palace, as an A split looks to be what they head for. And you can see already been able to find some contact as there is an aggressive push up through short. Paz gets dinked, but still somehow finds the headshot on towards Bubsky. And now with a man advantage, Space Soldiers, they claim it even further in their favor. Calix jumping up on top of the ticket booth. That's ridiculous. That's something you probably shouldn't be able to get away with rather, but it's working out for them as it seems like Space Soldiers will find themselves a 14th round. As Dragonfly is the last man to fall. 14-2. 2 more rounds is all Space Soldiers need now. And we're probably not going to see a buy coming in for Fragsters. They'll force into this round. If they lose this, then they have a similar investment into what is potentially the final round of this map. At this point, Inferno looking extremely likely.
Yeah, definitely is. It's most likely, yeah. It's pretty much written in the stars that it will go to Inferno because currently Space Soldiers 14-2. They've got Xantares popping off, and that's a player that was kind of vacant on train. He started to wake up towards the end, and I said, coming into Mirage, if you're a Space Soldiers fan, keep your eyes open because coming into it, Xantares definitely is a man that can wake up at any moment, and he does it here on Mirage. 2 kills coming in though for Space Soldiers, only 1 being found back from Fragsters, but they're all falling apart, and it's all onto Bubsky. 1 versus 3. And Space Soldiers look to take their 15th on the board, and there we go. It is fine from 15-2. Map point for Space Soldiers, looking to get to map number 3. And again, this is the similar investment in the previous. From Fragsters, like you said, this is the pistols coming through, and this is what they've got to work with to prevent them from going out here and now.
Are we, Dinko, someone said it sounds like we're trying to do really bad American accents. Should we try actually cast around like that? In really bad
definitely not. I don't want to embarrass myself.
But are we not already done that?
No.
No? Okay. That person was obviously wrong then. I honestly thought it was. Is this not an Irish accent? Anyway though, potentially the final round of the map. As we can see, I said it would be a similar investment to what was in the previous round for Fragsters. And that is indeed the case. 4 Eagles, that's all they have left over, as already Stavin, the young blood. Well, his young blood has been sprayed all over the wall because he was taken down. Eventually 1 trade from Refresh, but with a 4-on-2, this is looking to be the end of this one as Inferno. It is going to be following up onto this one. Refresh finished off by Xantares. I thought Calix got that. But there you have it, 16-2. Back to back, they swapped it over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a repeat, just a different team. You know, the map picks of each other go the exact same way. You know, I talked about, you know, Train. I painted the picture that Fragsters would be the ones to take that one. It's their specialist map, 100% win rate. It was almost confirmed that they would win it 16-2. There we go. The job done, easy day at the office. And then next map, you know, I talked about Fragsters. Didn't look too strong at all on that map in recent results, and you know, historically weren't great at it. Space Soldiers is a pretty good map for them coming into that one. They obviously start with their T side, which is definitely something. I mean, Space Soldiers like to dictate the pace. We've seen that on Mirage. They're able to sort of, you know, put pressure in an area of the map, then fall back, then alleviate the pressure, and then go somewhere else and put a little bit more pressure there. They got to play their own style of play. Franksters didn't really, you know, try and upset that at all. I think if Franksters used their individual skill and got aggressive and tried to upset the style of play of Space Soldiers, then that definitely could have went in their favor. But, 16-2 for Space Soldiers, very convincing indeed. There were signs of life from Fragsters, but ultimately just the lesser team on the map. And then we get to go to Inferno, the third map decider of the best of three. And this one is going to be incredibly interesting. A map we've seen 2-16-2s. It's kind of up in the air of which team's going to win this. And Inferno always makes for a great best of three decider map.
Yeah, it really does, and we're going to find out in a few minutes who will be the victor. Of course, the loser of this one, they are eliminated from the qualifier, sadly. This is the lower bracket, so we are going to get that info pretty soon. Inferno, I think, should be a much closer map. I don't expect it to be another 16-2. I'm hoping it is. I think both teams will reach double digits. I think this one's going to be a lot more entertaining. I think Space Soldiers will take it in the end. I'm going to stick with my initial prediction. Are you going to stick with Fragsters? That's the question, Dinko.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going with Fragsters.
Okay.
Definitely. You got to stick to your bet. You can't just switch it off.
Yeah, well, you can't swap your bet, but you can change your opinion about who's going to win.
Or not bet. We'll say prediction because we didn't bet on it.
Yeah.
Just predictions.
But yeah, it's been an interesting game so far with 16-2s, and we're just going to take a quick break before we get back into the action with Inferno, guys.